Starting with Captain America, the Living Legend. This must be good. It's not rare though. 3 mana, 3/4 vigilance. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped during your turn, if it's the first time that creature has become tapped this turn, untap it. Okay, well this already reconfirms that blue-white is teamwork, right? Because with this guy you can use stuff for teamwork and then you can just like untap them. Obviously it also works on attacks. But it only, well, it allows you to play teamwork cards and then untap all of these creatures and then still be able to attack. Or you just attack and then all your creatures come back and you can defend next turn. Works for both ways. I mean, this is a pretty good card, and this is an uncommon. So you'll see this more often. And this is just the confirmation that this is for teamwork. So blue-white, teamwork, and I think it's going to be very strong. We've seen quite a few cards, and there's some really broken teamwork cards as well. Oh no. I have another bot in here. Gotta update my Autobot to remove those links. Don't click on this link, guys. King T'Challa, Mythic, also blue-white, has flash. I mean, they're also all gonna be blue-white, right? Yeah, okay. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. Transform King T'Challa as a sorcery. So, well, the first effect is kind of crazy. So if your opponent goes into card draw, like Conniff or whatever, you also always draw a card. And if you have Conniff or like card draw or like value cards, you'll also draw an additional card. Man, this is pretty insane. This is going to draw you endless amounts of cards. Even if you don't have any synergies with drawing 2 cards because you play teamwork or whatever, then this card is still very good. It's also flash. So you can transform him for 6 or you play him for 6 right away. 3/3 flash double strike. Oh man, this is scary. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Black Panther, so you can basically flash him in and kill something. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Oh my god. So you draw 2 cards because he had double strike if your opponent doesn't block him. That's a broken card in my eyes. I don't know him. King T'Challa. I don't know what hero this is supposed to be, or Marvel creature or whatever. But this is a broken card in any deck. In any deck. It really doesn't matter where you play him. Play him. It's surprising that it's blue-white though. Blue-white seems to be focused on teamwork, right? But let's move on. Let's see. Then we have Spider-Woman, of course. Secret Agent, 4 mana, 1/4. Flash. When she enters, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature can't become untapped for as long as you control her. Kind of like a removal. Up until someone kills her. It's a 1/4. And it's a hero, so you can protect her. There's a lot of white cards that protect your heroes. This is good, right? This seems to be like a good card. This definitely seems like a good card. I'll play this card also in pretty much any deck. It's a 2-for-1, basically. Obviously, if someone kills her, then not anymore. But like, as long as your opponent doesn't kill her, it's a 2-for-1. Do like this card. We have the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster, rare. Flying. Whenever Thor attacks, exile up to 1 target non-token artifact or creature. Then return that card. Oh, sorry, I need to drink something. Then return that card to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So you can basically flicker a creature. Either yours or your opponent's. So you can basically open up his defense. Oh, you can't really, right? Oh, it's tap. Yeah, you can open up your opponent's defense, or you can like flicker one of your own creatures to trigger an entering effect. And whenever an equipment enters, you draw a card. Oh, that's interesting. I thought equipment was more like black-white. So I guess that's where fixing comes in. Also with the previous card we've seen, I don't think blue-white is necessarily into drawing 2 cards, right? But you can probably splash this into your Conif deck. I'm really curious to see what the mana looks like, if there's enough fixing. I think this is the same thing. You want to probably flash this or splash this into your black-white equipment deck. Very good card. It's also flying. It's a 3/3 flying for 3 lands. That's already quite good. And then it has like this extra effect and it draws you cards. It's a very good card. Then we have the Ghost Spectral Saboteur. 3 mana 2/2 flash. Ghost can't be blocked. Okay, so it's a 2/2 that can't be blocked. It has flash. And it's a villain. But it's not really part of green or red or white where you grow your creatures pretty quickly. So most of the time it's probably going to be hard to put counters on it. You have, like, this fits in a Conif deck, I guess, but like you can't make him Conif necessarily. If you grow this guy though, this is scary. It's hard to say whether this card is good. I don't think it's good by himself. But in specific decks where you are able to grow your creatures quickly or your villains, I guess villains is, yeah, shouldn't be too hard. This can be fucking devastating because your opponent can't really block it. He has to kill it. But eventually it's a 3-drop 2/2, right? And the flash doesn't really do too much other than maybe if you have like a grow spell, you can flash this in, your opponent can't react, and then you grow him and kill your opponent. We have to see whether this card is going to be good. Probably works in a couple decks. Is this legendary? Yeah, okay. So you can also only play 1. So you can't really build like a deck with creatures that can't be blocked unless there's like way more. And it's going to be hard to play more than 1 or 2 of these. And then we have Kang, the Temporal Tyrant. 4 mana 3/4. When he attacks, he Conifs. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So, okay, so we're done with blue-white. I still think this is teamwork. I was expecting a little more. But I think blue-white is focused on teamwork, and then these cards you splash in. And then here, he Conifs. When he attacks, whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Yeah. I mean, this is like a Conif card. And it's fine. I guess you can like trigger this. I mean, this only triggers once each turn, right? If you have enough Conif. So it's not like crazy. It's not like you can like queue this up 5 times in a row or whatever. And when you attack with him, I guess he grows. But that also means you have to throw away like valuable cards into your graveyard. So Conifing is not always +1/+1. Sometimes it's just cycling your lands. I think it's a fine card, but it's not like completely, like, it's not super great. I guess in a Conif deck you could play it, but not super exciting. Scientist Supreme of AIM. 2 mana 2/2 rare. Pay 2 life. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an artifact source. An artifact source. But choose new targets for the copy. That's a bit awkward. I don't think that black-blue is going to be artifact. It's more like blue-red is artifacts. And if that's the case, it's going to be probably hard to like put in a 2-drop. I don't love splashing in 2-drops into your artifact deck. Because most of the time the 2-drops are not really worth splashing them. And you have to pay 2 life in order to copy a target, activate, or triggered ability. So unless you have an artifact deck with tons of activated or triggered abilities, I don't think you want to play this. And then on top of this, black-blue doesn't seem to be the artifact colors. I feel like this card is comparable to the red-white card we've seen in Strixhaven that copies your instant and sorcery spells. While in Boros, and it was red-white, but usually you want to play it in a red-blue deck. But it's a 2-drop, so you never like fixed it into your blue-red deck. And it worked in Boros a couple times, but in Boros again you want it to be aggressive. And you don't want to stay back and tap all your creatures. So that card became a little bit awkward. And it seems like this card is pretty similar. You have to like splash this in, and it's hard to splash a 2-drop. It's not worth it most of the time, so I feel like this might not matter that much. But there's probably some builder rounds where it's good. Also, paying 2 life is quite expensive. But you can do it only once each turn, okay? And also only during your turn. Probably not that exciting, if you ask me. That being legendary stops it being too horrible, I guess. Which one? This one? Oh, are we still talking about this? Sorry, I might have missed this message. Oh, the unblockable guy. Yeah, okay, sorry. I was a bit late. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. You can't really like build around like your deck around these guys because and that's the problem with all the cards we've seen. I'm really surprised how many legendary creatures there are. It's gonna be harder to like have a fixed game plan because you can only play each creature once. There's very, very rare creatures, like only a couple creatures that are not legendary. So it will be harder, especially when you have all these different archetypes. That means all the archetypes are also not that deep. And then making them legendary makes it even harder because even if you like draw a second one of these, it's kind of awkward to play them. So your game plans will be a little bit fucked, is my first concern. And my second concern is that if you want like a clear game plan with only going in one direction, you probably desperately need fixing. Because again, you can only play 1 or 2 of each creature if they're legendary. I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. It will be hard to have a game plan, first point, and the second point is it could be interesting at the same time because people will start building weird stuff and they will have plan A, B, C rather than I'm only going Conniff or I'm only going Boros or whatever. There will be a lot of like weird stuff flying around, I think. Is my assumption. Yeah, again, I think this guy won't matter that much. I think it's off color and it will be a bit awkward. I don't think it's good enough. And then we have a 4-drop Taskmaster Mercenary Mimic, black-blue, 3/5. At the beginning of your first main phase until your next turn, he becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature on the battlefield. All creature card in a graveyard, any graveyard, except his name, and he's legendary. Okay, I read it in a way that you have to do this, but then I realized you can just choose himself, right? So let's say there's nothing great out there. There's only 1/1s and 2/2s in the graveyard and on the battlefield. Then that effect is pretty shit. But I think you could just like select himself. Taskmaster becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature on the battlefield or creature card in a graveyard. Yeah, you can just choose himself if there's nothing better. But it's very likely there's something better. So that's actually interesting. This guy is... I'm surprised this is not a shapeshifter. I think this is good. Especially against green-red. When you play against green-red decks, you can just make him like to Hulk or whatever. Green-red will have like very big creatures. And then you can re-trigger it up until the end of your next turn. Well, until your next turn. So basically, you can decide each turn what he's gonna be. It's a good card. It's a bit random. Like, you don't know how good he's gonna be, but worst case, it's a 4-mana 3/5, and most cases, it's probably like a better one. Pretty good. Especially when you remove something great and then you play him and then he becomes this card. Is this rare? Yeah, and legendary. But again, like, not connected to Conniff or anything. Actually, it is. This card is actually good in Conniff because you can decide what you're going to throw away. So you could, like, put away, like, a really big creature and then play this, and then he becomes that creature. Obviously, you lose the big one, but if it's like an 8-drop and you're only on 4 lands, it's not that big of a deal. And then also you can probably play this easily in a black-green deck where you, like, fill your graveyard with stuff. So you can splash this in. This will work in both decks. So I like this card. Legendary could be fine for sealed. I mean, maybe. You see, I have had a lot of seal pools where I have like 3 or 4 of the same creature. And this becomes awkward then. I don't think it's going to be great in sealed either. Because in sealed you have more issues. Because you can't select what you're drafting. So you might end up, if your deepest color is white, and then you end up with 3 or 4 creatures of the same kind in that color, then what are you going to do? You play 4 of them? Or you cut 2 and then you like short again? Sealed is also an issue. I feel like in draft you even have more control of like just picking one of each. But yeah, I think it's awkward, but it's also going to be interesting. And it probably is good to draft good cards rather than drafting after a specific game plan, because it will be so hard to follow just one game plan. So just drafting the better cards rather than saying, oh, this card's better, but this doesn't really fit into my game plan, becomes less valuable. So I don't know. This is my assumption, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see. Ares, God of War, 3-mana 4/3. Attacks each combat if able. Okay. And whenever an attacking creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand. What? This is pretty good. It basically means all your attacking creatures become indestructible. You get them back to your hand, so you have to play them again, which is the downside, but this kind of like protects your creatures. That's pretty good. It is pretty good. Yeah, definitely want to play this card, I think. Pretty much any deck, unless you're like very defensive and like a valuable deck. I mean, even then, like, your opponent has to deal with this. And if he can't, like, even if he kills it, you're just gonna get it back. I mean, he has to kill it when he's not attacking, I guess. So yeah, it's still good. It's still a good card. So we're in black-red now. Blue-black, again, I think this is like Conniff. Cards make sense in Conniff, and then blue-white seems to be teamwork. So pretty much what we said before. But they kind of like have side effects. So you can flex these cards around. It's just a villain. Black-red was just villains. Ooh, this looks interesting. Under Siege. 4-mana enchantment. You create 2/1 black villain creature tokens with menace. I already like that. And then it deals 2 damage to each non-villain creature and each opponent. And then create a treasure token for each villain you control. I do like this card. This can be devastating for your opponent. Like, obviously you want to play this in your villain deck. Because otherwise you fuck up your whole board yourself. Haste seems nuts with ours. Yeah. Well, keep in mind, yeah, of course, you can play a creature and you can attack right away and they're indestructible, but keep in mind they only stay indestructible as long as they're attacking. So he probably takes the hit, and then he kills that creature, and then doesn't go back to your hand, right? And then also, there is a lot of removal that exiles creatures because of all the indestructible. So, which makes this effect also less good. And then you can't use this, like, let's say you play, like, you draw this card and you desperately need a defender because your opponent is ahead. You have a guy that's attacking. You can't even block with him. So there's some downsides to this card. It's not like super, super good. But if you're beat down and you're ahead and you're the aggressor, then this will seal the deal. But in some occasions, it's gonna be shitty. So I'd be a bit careful with this card, but it's still not bad. This card, on the other hand, is amazing. In a black villain deck, play this card. This is really good. Best of 3, even better. You can decide, like, if your opponent has only green, red, big creatures, I guess the second effect is kind of like shit. And then you get some treasures, but you get 2/2/1s for 4 lands. It's already quite good. And they have manas too, and they are villains. Pretty good card in a villain deck. I mean, even in a non-villain deck, you can probably flash this in. This 2 damage might matter. And then you ramp into stuff. Then we have the Bullseye Death Dealer. Still black-red, also a villain, obviously. When he enters, you may sacrifice an artifact or discard a non-land card. You may. When you do, he deals 2 damage to any target. So you could sacrifice like a treasure, ideally. And discarding a non-land card to deal 2 damage is probably not that great in most cases. So if you have treasures, I guess this guy is okay. And then you can sacrifice an artifact or discard a non-land card again for 3 lands and tap him. Okay, so you can do this pretty much anytime you want. So I guess you want to do this in a treasure token deck. I feel like treasure tokens are a thing. Or like food tokens, where you gain life. Yeah, this is very specific. You can't really play this if you have nothing to like sacrifice. I don't think you're going to discard non-land cards to deal 2 damage most of the time. So you can only make this work if you sacrifice an artifact, is my opinion about it. You don't want to throw away your cards. So yeah, in potential, like in some decks, this might be okay. But it's also very expensive to do this. 3 lands and tap him for 2 damage, and you have to sack something. It's very expensive. So maybe not too exciting, but you can make it work. Madame Hydra, we have definitely a couple of black-red cards in comparison to like blue and white. Yes, yeah. Well, maybe 3 more, 2 or 3 more. Madame Hydra, common, uncommon. Whenever you cast a villain spell, create a 2/1 black villain creature with menace. Okay, amazing. So there's so many villain cards that just give you tons of villain tokens. And yeah. I think villains are going to be insanely strong. And as are heroes. Heroes and villains archetype seems to be, in my opinion, seems to be so much better than anything else. I mean, I'm sure they balanced it out to a degree. And I'm not right. But from what I've read so far and what I've seen, villains and heroes seem to be the number 1 and 2 archetypes you want to play. But I'm sure there's build-arounds, but this is pretty broken. Like you can make this, like in a villain deck, this card is actually pretty good. It's obviously a bit slow, but like once this lives for 2 turns, you have like all these tokens coming in. This seems good. 2 mana and Axe 2/2. When he enters with, he enters with X +1/+1 counters. Okay, so you can play him for 5, and then it's a 5/5. And then you can choose up to X. Discard a card, then draw a card. Target opponent loses 2 life. Destroy target token. That's good. Each player sacrifices a creature of the choice. which is again good. You can probably sacrifice one of your villain tokens, and then you might even hit something big. But you can only choose everything once, right? Yeah, I think so. This is how I read it. I think you can only choose everything once. So if you play X, if you tap it for 8, I don't think you get like to trigger 8 effects. I think you can trigger 4 and that's it. Right? Aris has the Rambo rocket launcher. Actually, what the fuck? I didn't even see that. How does this guy have a rocket launcher and a fucking axe? This doesn't make sense. Beyond is just here for the pictures. He's just paying attention to the art. But some of these cards are actually quite funny. Well, this guy's good. It's a 5-drop. Like you can flex this card and you can make it a 5-drop 5/5, 6-drop 6/6, and then it has all these like extra effects, right? So it's pretty good. I'm 99% sure you can't re-trigger the same effect several times. It would be too crazy. If you play this as a 7/7, you could like deal 10 damage to your opponent's face. There's no way. Okay, this is black-red. So black-red clearly villains, also what we said before, no surprises here. But these cards actually are all into villains, right? Other than maybe this. This maybe not either, but it's also a villain. And then black-blue seems to be a little bit of like splashable cards, and blue-white as well. Black-red clearly into villains. Green-red. 4 mana 4/4 trample, villain. Power up. Okay. Put a +1/+1 counter on this dude. He fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Okay. So you can play this as a 9-drop right away. And then it's a 5/5 that fights something. Sorry, not a 7-drop, not a 9-drop, sorry. 7-drop 5/5 that fights something. I think we've seen similar cards before. It's not horrible. This is actually quite fine. If you have ramp and play green-red big creatures, this card is actually quite okay. You can also just play it as a 4/4 trample and then activate this later if you don't want to. If your opponent doesn't have anything or you don't have the mana. I think this card is playable. It's definitely okay, but you need some ramp. Kind of like. Also confirms what green-red is. Green-red is just big creatures and ramping and I think treasure tokens. Fucking headset is turning off again. I don't know why this... I don't know what's happening recently. My computer is making weird stuff. Like my OBS is doing weird stuff. My headset is suddenly shutting down. I don't know what's going on, guys. The gremlins are in my system. Something's happening. Then we have the Alien Invasion for 4 mana, rare. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red alien creature token with haste, and this token attacks each combat if able. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each invasion counter on this enchantment. Then put an invasion counter on this enchantment. Wait. So you get a 1/1 each turn that has to attack. Token attacks each combat. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each invasion counter on this enchantment. Then put an invasion counter on this enchantment. So you create a 1/1. You put a +1/+1 counter on it, so it's basically a 2/2. And you put a counter on this enchantment. And then let's say your opponent blocks the 2/2. Next turn, you'll get a 1/1 and you get 2 +1/+1 counters. Because put an invasion counter. Oh, wait. For each invasion counter, you put a +1/+1. So every turn you create a 1/1, and every turn this 1/1 gets 1 additional +1/+1 counter. So you create a 2/2, then a 3/3, then a 4/4, then a 5/5. That's pretty insane. And if your opponent isn't even able to block the first 1/1 or like the first creatures you built, then it's just going to be an endless amounts of like 1/1s that grow and grow and grow and grow. No, first turn is a 2/2 already, right? Because you create a 1/1, and then it attacks, but it also gets a +1/+1 counter right away. Oh, wait. No, you're right. It's a 1/1 because it doesn't have an invasion counter right away. So it basically doesn't get a counter, and then an invasion counter enters, like gets onto this enchantment, right? So you create a 1/1, and it stays a 1/1 for the first turn. And then the second turn, you create a 1/1, and this becomes a 2/2. Yeah, this is how it works. You're right. Because it doesn't have invasion counters in the first turn. It just like gets the invasion counter after the trigger. Yeah. Yeah, seems very good. It's a bit slow. The first 2 turns it won't do much, but then it creates like endless amounts of creatures, 5/5, 6/6, 7/7, 8/8. So if you play this, your opponent needs to kill this right away, or he needs to kill you in the next 3-4 turns. Otherwise, you just overrun him. So green-red, again, big creatures, everything grows. Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, because this is just not a plan enchantment. Yeah, it's weird, because all the other enchantments that do things like that are like plan counters. This one isn't. I guess maybe the plan counter stuff. I think the plan counter enchantment is also an archetype you can play. It's probably also something you can do. It's slow, but I feel like if you combine them all, you just like win in the long run. This is probably one of the decks where you want to play like your defensive walls and creatures we've seen, and then you play plan enchantments that then win you the game in the long run. But this is not one of them, but this also wins you the game. Here we go. We have Hulk again. This is rare, right? Yeah. 5 drops, 6/5, reach and trample. Power up abilities of other creatures you control cost 3 less to activate. Oh, that's massive. Power up 8 of other creatures. So you still have to pay 8 for him. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on him. I guess if you do that and your opponent doesn't kill him, you win the game. This is 11-10 trample. I mean, this reduces your power up cost significantly and makes power up way better. But again, how many cards did we see that support power up? We have seen this, and I think there was one other card which supported power up. And again, these cards are legendary, so it's not like you can play 3 of these and then make sure that they're cheap. And then you can only play this if you already have 5 lands out, right? So in the next turn, you'll have 6 lands. How much this is going to matter? I mean, it still will, but how much will it actually matter if you already have 6 lands out? Or like, let's say 5. I still like this card. It's a 5-drop 6/5 reach trample. And you can grow it, right? So you for 8 mana, actually for 8 lands, this guy is an 11-10 trample reach. Yeah, it's an 8-drop. So, I mean, this card is very good in green-red. I'm just saying that power up is still, I still have my doubts about playing power up too much. If you get like 3 or 4 cards that support the power up cards like this, then sure. I just haven't seen a lot of cards that do that. So I'm a bit concerned about that. And this being legendary also makes it, again, harder. But it fits in your green-red deck, so you want to play this dude, for sure. Wolverine, Fierce Fighter. 4 mana, 3/5 haste. When Wolverine enters, he fights up to 1 other target creature. That's pretty okay. If damage would be dealt to Wolverine instead, that damage is dealt, but all other damage already dealt to him is healed. What? If damage would be dealt to Wolverine, instead that damage is dealt? That's such a weird thing to say. But all other damage already dealt to him is healed. I don't know if I understand this, guys. Okay, so you play him and he fights a creature, right? And then if damage would be dealt. So let's say he fights someone, he gets 2 damage. Instead, that damage is dealt. That already doesn't make sense, because if damage is dealt, you can't say instead that damage is dealt. Because it is dealt. How is this an instead? But let's say, okay, he gets 2 damage. This means he gets actually these 2 damage, but all other damage already dealt to him is healed. So, okay. I think what it means is it fights the creature and it gets the damage. But then if you then attack with him, that damage is healed if he gets more damage. It's just Americans know the language. I mean, Americans are usually very, very accurate in describing their words. Every word they're using literally says what it means. I could give a few examples, but I won't. Okay, I think I got it. But it's just the weirdest way of describing how this works. So it just says, like, whenever this card is dealt damage, like, the damage is actually dealt. But whenever after that he gets more damage, the previous damage doesn't count. So he could fight someone, get 2 damage, and then he could attack, and then if you block him, the previous fight damage like wouldn't matter. I think this is how I read it. I swapped screens? Oh. How did that happen? What the hell? Here we go. No, this isn't better. Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Oh, okay, wait. Oh, I know what I did. Here we go. Is this better? This is not perfect, but... Can you read this still? Okay, good. I accidentally touched my OBS. That was my fault. Wait, I can probably make this better. Ugh, guys, it's not perfect, but just gotta live with it now. Okay, this is how I understand the card. Exactly. Absenta put it perfectly. You gotta kill it in one blow. You can't just like deal damage and then more damage to kill it. That's what they could have written. But instead they put this in here. Man, this is very confusing. Imagine reading this. Imagine you start the draft, you haven't read the cards, and this is pick 1. I would not pick this because I would be looking at it. I would read it twice and I'd be like, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't know what it means. I would probably still pick it because it's kind of like a 2-for-1, right? But it only deals 3 damage, so it won't kill anything super big. But this is so confusing. Yeah, it's a weird way of putting it. But I'm pretty sure there was a team sitting together and they were like, okay, how can we phrase this easier? And they probably found loopholes to any other description. But I'm pretty sure this is not the first time they've created a card like this, right? Okay, how would you phrase it differently? Okay, give me a phrase that phrases it differently that doesn't have any loopholes. I mean, I haven't thought it through. There probably is one, but I'm pretty sure there's a team that like reads these cards. And I'm pretty sure whoever created this, his boss was probably like, no, you got to figure out a better way to describe this. Nobody's going to understand that. And then they couldn't find a way. I think this is how it went down. And then they were like, well, people just got to be smart enough. I mean, you can get it, but you have to read it like 5 times. If damage is dealt, it is dealt, but only when dealt to the card to be dealt on Friday afternoon. Shut up, Beyond. But yeah, we got it. It's not that complicated. You got to kill it in one blow. You could just put in here, you have to kill it in one blow. Otherwise, it doesn't die. That's how I would phrase it. Well done, Absenta. Always on point. Okay, that's green, green-red. So big creatures also confirmed. Green-white. So a green-white will be heroes, right? Whenever another non-token hero you control enters, choose one. Create a 1/1, or creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. I mean, yeah. This is kind of similar to the other villain card we've seen, right? 4 mana, 4/4, creates you 1/1s, or it boosts your whole board. How did I do that? Guys, what? Oh. Well, now I found the issue. How am I going to get this back now? All right, give me 1 sec. Man, I'm such a newbie. I can't move this. Nope, that's the wrong one. Well, it shows the right picture. I don't know how I did this, guys. What if I shut down Magic? Probably doesn't help. Nope. I don't know what I did. It shows that it's showing the picture, but it actually doesn't. Nope, that's also incorrect. Let me just restart the browser. Maybe that helps. Man, that's so annoying. I didn't touch OBS. Okay, well, let me just do a new source then. That should work. Give me 1 minute, guys. Window capture, browser. Here we go. You can see that, right? Look how good I am in fixing stuff quickly and then fucking it up pretty quickly again. Sorry for that. Oh, I'm gone? Yeah. But yeah, I can fix that. That's no problem. Here I am. All right, we got it. Everyone calm down. I know what I'm doing, okay? Well, I guess if that's... it's the first time I'm doing this, okay? Cut me some credit. Okay, want to do color. Let's jump back to where we were. Kind of want to zoom in on this, right? Yep. Okay, we got it. We're back. I think we were here. Yep. So this guy, I don't know how much when I lost you, or when I lost the sharing. But yeah, this is, again, this goes together with heroes. So green-white also confirmed this is into heroes. This creates 1/1 tokens, or it boosts your whole board, basically. Gets +1/+1 to everything, but only for one turn. So probably you want to use this guy to like create a couple of tokens, and then you just want to, as soon as you want to swing, you activate this effect. If you have some flash creatures, it could be a good combat trick, I guess. But I'm not sure how much flash there is in green-white. Probably a couple. But yeah, also a good card. Also a good card. And then we have Spider-Man. There he is. There he is. We haven't seen Spider-Man yet at all in any like monocolor cards. 3 mana, 3/2 flash, vigilance, reach. When Spider-Man enters, you may tap him. When you do, another target non-attacking creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Another target non-attacking creature you control gains indestructible. Okay. So basically on blocks, right? So you kind of want to play this to protect your creatures. Well, that's a flash card. Yeah. So, well, this actually kind of like works together with this guy. If you flash this in defense, you can grow the whole board. Like you can grow all your heroes. Or you create another 1/1. Yeah. Again, this is what I really like. Like, you kind of like Spider-Man is the one saving everyone, right? So obviously, you just like read the card without the text, and you know it's going to be something with indestructible or like saving your cards from something. And also Flash, it really makes sense. And this is what they do well, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, it protects your creatures. It's a 3 mana 3/2. It can pump your whole board in combination with this. Pretty good card. But again, legendary. Then we have Storm Windrider. 4-drop, 4/4 flying. Also hero and rare. Creatures with flying can't attack you or block creatures you control. Oh. Oh. So all flying creatures from your opponent can't do anything, basically. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more creatures, those creatures gain flying until end of turn. This is interesting. You can use this both ways. So you can target one of your creatures and then it becomes flying, which is good. If you target your opponent's creature, it becomes flying, but it can't attack or block anymore. Yeah, you can. And this is actually, like, most of the time it's bad, but if you have this out, this is quite good. Yeah, exactly. But they won't stay flying, obviously. This is only until end of turn then, right? I guess it's good. You don't want to, like, roll the whole board of your opponent or make it all flying and then he kills that dude. So yeah, bad weather at the airport. Well, I guess nobody's flying if that's the case. Yeah, pretty good card. This can catch your opponent off guard. Like you don't even know. Like this card's pretty good. It also, keep in mind, it makes your board flying too. So that's actually crazy. You can make, like, if you have a spell that targets several creatures, everything flies. Very good card. Don't know what, like, I mean, I guess it's a hero. I guess it just goes into heroes. Can probably easily splash this into other decks if you're white base most of the time. It probably works in any deck. Also black-white or like Boros is also quite good. Yeah, you can play this anywhere you want, really. Yeah, there's a couple of fun cards that really switch things up you haven't seen before. I've never seen any card like this even close before. We have the Black Widow, 3 mana, 3/2, black-white. Black-white I'm still uncertain about. I feel like it's equipment, right? And grow single creatures. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, yeah, this effect. It gains first strike and menace until end of turn. That's quite nice. That is actually a really good card. So black-white is still the attacking alone, and then you can add some equipments, I feel like, to grow the single creatures you're attacking with. I think is the idea of black-white. And this is kind of like an initiator. Like you need this card in order to make your attacks good. Especially Menace and the first strike is so annoying to deal with. Imagine attacking with a 6/6 Menace first strike. You would have to block with so many things in order to kill that guy. Cloak and Dagger, Entwined. 2/2, 3 lands, Death Touch, Lifelink. When Cloak and Dagger enters, choose target opponent and up to 1 target creature they control. They reveal their hand. You may exile a non-land card from their hand or the chosen creature. Oh, you may exile a non-land card from their hand or the chosen creature until he leaves the battlefield. May exile a non-land card. That's pretty good. Or the chosen creature. Okay, so you have to decide whether you want to like exile something from his hand or the chosen creature. I mean, this is very good. This is like a 3-drop 2/2 Death Touch lifelink that removes something from the board or your opponent's hand. And you even get to look at your opponent's hand. That's very good. Very good card too. Doesn't really support the attacking with 1 or whatever, but this is just like a good card by itself. You kind of like want to. You can also like splash this into any deck, really. 3-drop is a bit annoying, but this is a removal. This is a removal spell. This is actually insane. I mean, there is like 3-drop. There's not even like 3-drop removal spells that exile anything. Barely any. And if they do, it is an enchantment that your opponent can kill. So this is like a 3-drop 2/2 Death Touch lifelink that does the same effect, and you get to look at your opponent's hand. This is absolutely insane, actually. Am I misreading this? This is insane. This is so good. Crazy good card. And we have the Kingpin of Crime, and black-whites is interesting now with all these cards here. They're all very good. Extort? What's Extort again? Whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white or black. If you do, each opponent loses... Oh yeah, and you gain that much life. And you can do this several times. So if you like have 3 spells and you have like 3 lands available, you can trigger it once each. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 life. If you do, until end of turn, creatures you control with toughness greater than their power. Man, all these texts are long. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2 life. If you do, until end of turn, creatures you control with toughness greater than their power assign combat damage equal to their toughness rather than their power. Okay. Is this the case in black-white, though? Do you have a lot of 1/5s and 1/3s? I haven't really seen that. But there is a couple of cards that actually have a lot of toughness and not a lot of power. Which are like all the value cards, right? So you could play this card in a value deck and then drain your opponent while make your whole board very strong. But you have to pay 2 life, and you have to attack for that. So you can't use it on defense either. And you have to decide at your attack. So you can't like say once your opponent declares the blocks, you can't be like, oh, now I'm paying 2 life. You have to decide before, so your opponent knows. But yeah, it could be strong. I just don't know how many cards there are. I'm uncertain about this card. This could probably work, but you need a lot of like 1/3s, 1/5s that like double your effects or whatever. Then it could work. Probably a way to put this or to build this into your deck for sure. But not quite sure what this goes together with in regards of archetypes at the moment. You have the US agent John Walker. When he enters, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Sturdy Shield with equip creature gets +1/+2. So you create an equipment basically that you can equip for 2 and it gives +1/+2. Oh, and it gets attached. Okay, so this card is good. I do like these type of cards. So it enters and it's a 4/4. And then if it dies, you still have the equipment that gives +1/+2. And you can even like unequip it, obviously, and equip something else. This card's good. This card's good. And that also confirms that black-white is attacking with 1 creature and equipment. So also here, confirmation what we thought would happen with black-white. Very good card. Just because like it looks like a 4-mana 4/4, but like you get an additional equipment for it, and that's quite good. If it wasn't equipped right away, it would be less, like way less good. But like this, it's actually excellent. Really good card. I like this. I mean, obviously in specific decks, right? You don't want to like play this in necessarily in a villain deck. Winter Soldier, Icy Assassin, 2-mana 2/2 rare, Vigilance Menace. Winter Soldier gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to him. Okay, next confirmation. So this is sealed now. And it has Menace. Man, this is a good card for sure. And then you can return this from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Okay. And then you may attach an equipment you control to him. So yeah, this goes together with this guy. Black-white is actually, it's interesting. When I didn't see the multicolor, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. There's a couple cards, but they don't seem great. But like all the double color ones are like actually excellent. I do like black-white. This is definitely a thing. Ooh, Armor Wars. Now we're coming into red-blue, which we assume is artifacts, right? That's what I read from the monocolor cards. It's an enchantment though. I agree. Attacking alone has been really disappointing in the past because very often, if people go like tokens, let's say they play heroes or villains, which create tons of tokens, and you attack with a 10/10, he's just going to be like, yeah, have one of my 1/1s, and then I'm going to run you over with 20 creatures. That's why black-white attacking with 1 creature hasn't been that amazing. So you either want to like grow them pretty hardcore with trample, or you want to give them Menace. And most of these creatures, the black-white ones, actually have Menace. Like a lot of effects support that. So that makes it a little better. But yeah, I agree. It hasn't been great in the past. And I also want to see how this turns out. But I'm pretty sure they know about it. So I feel like they're going to do something about it, right? And they might have done that with Menace. But we'll see. Armor Wars, you may draw a card for each artifact you control. Yeah, artifacts. Okay, confirmed. This is already great. If you do, each opponent draws a card. Oh, well, it's only 1 card though. So you get to draw like probably a couple and then your opponent gets 1. And then artifact spells you cast this turn cost 1 less to cast. Okay, well, for 1 turn, your artifacts become cheaper, well, whatever. And then he deals damage to target opponent where X is the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. Okay, so you probably have like, I don't know, 3-drop, 4-drop out. You deal 4 damage to your opponent. Okay, well, it draws you a bunch of cards and it deals direct damage. I mean, this can be good. If you go wide on artifacts, like if you have a lot of treasure token, you can probably put this into green-red as well. If you have like tons of treasure for each artifact, not token or whatever, like treasure tokens count as well. You can draw tons of cards. So this is probably good. And then it makes it cheaper, and then it deals some damage as well. So like a value card. Yeah, that's what I thought. Why is this a saga? Why this is not an artifact? I agree. So it would like trigger himself as well. I think it. I agree. This would have made more sense. It would have made this card better. But maybe they thought it's too good if they do that. But sometimes if you have 2 artifacts out, if you play it for 4 lands and you draw 2 cards. So it can be a little bit disappointing. That's why it's important. Like if you play this, you want to go full all in with artifacts, and you want to have like ideally like artifact token creation or whatever, like in order to go wide. And then this can be super strong. This can be very, very strong. So I think it's gonna turn out well. I think you want to play this. And then you have Iron Man for 4 mana, 1/4 uncommon, flying vigilance, gets +1/+0 for each other artifact you control. Yeah, again, when he attacks, if an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. Oh, this is good, right? Yeah, this card is good. This is going to draw you a bunch of cards. So it looks like artifact is very, very value heavy, not that aggressive. Good card, for sure. Speedball, 3 mana 2/2. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets Speedball, he gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You may choose new targets for that spell. Wait, what? Okay, well, so basically it basically has X-proof. Wait, you can also target it. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets Speedball, he gets +2, and you may choose new targets for that spell. You may choose new targets for that spell. Does this mean that this... So let's say I put a spell on him that gives him a +1/+1 counter. Does the +1/+1 counter trigger on him and then I can target something else? Or does it just like not affect him and then I have to target something else? Because obviously your opponent won't play it on him. That would be really stupid, right? Because then if he plays a removal on this guy, you can just like remove something that he has. But what happens if someone does? Does this double your spell or does it just like deflect? I think it doubles your spell. Are you sure? But that means like nobody can kill him. Right? But I'm not sure if that kills him. Does this really mean nobody can kill him? Because it just deflects? I think so too. But it doesn't say that. Like it doesn't say like +2/+2 instead or anything. It doesn't say that the spell that targets him doesn't kill him or like does his effect. It just says you may choose new targets for that spell. But I guess that you may choose new targets for that spell says that it won't affect him, right? I think that's how I read it as well. Yeah, true. What if there's... Well, I guess if there's no one else to redirect it to, then he dies. It's a bit awkward though. This doesn't make sense, you know? Like they built this one card which is super complex because they can't find another wording that doesn't have loopholes, And then they have this card, which actually has a couple of loopholes in my eyes. This guy needs his friends. I think so too. Otherwise he dies. He's a very social person. Okay, not 100% sure, guys, but I think it's how we said it. I think you can't kill him with spells if there's other creatures on the battlefield. But that also means if I have a removal myself, I would play it on him. Just to trigger +2/+2, and then I would like redirect it to something else, right? I don't want to be the first one to try that. I don't want to be the first one to play a removal on this guy and then he actually dies. That would be really shitty. So I'll stay away from this card until I know what he actually does. I guess it shouldn't be too hard to find out. I think this is how it works, but I can't guarantee you guys. I'm not 100% sure because it's not 100% clear for me from that text. Yeah, it's uncommon, but it's a legendary. It's also, it's not that great. Like, it's a 3 mana 2/2, okay? It's something you can just block. I mean, yeah, like, if you have interaction, you can make it a 4/4, but it's not like he's crazy good. So, you probably don't even want to target this guy anyway if you have removal. I would just let him attack up until my opponent plays something better or I'm desperately in need of killing this guy. So, it's okay. It's an okay card. It could be a fun one. It could be a fun one. You can probably do like a fun build around. Okay, let's move on. We have the Vision Quest, which is rare. 2 mana and X. Search your library in a graveyard for an artifact creature card. Okay. Library and or graveyard for an artifact creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters. If it's 4 or greater, it gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so you can find anything, any artifact in your deck or graveyard for mana value X or less. And then it gets +1/+1 for each X you paid. Okay. I mean, probably playable if you have some broken artifacts. But if you have like mediocre artifacts in your deck that are not that crazy, like a standard like kind of artifact deck, probably not that amazing. I mean, it grows it, but it's also quite expensive, right? So if you have like a 4-drop, it's probably not too exciting. Yeah, it really depends on your deck. If you have like some like 2 or 3 artifact cards that are rare and you definitely want to play those and you want to have higher chances of drawing those, this is interesting. But I wouldn't play it all the time. The Vision is an artifact that costs 4. What do you mean? Alright, we have the Killmonger, Scourge of Wakanda. So ideally you fetch for the Vision? Well, this is Vision. Well, what do you mean with Vision? Is there another card called Vision? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, moving, but I don't know this card. So Killmonger, when he enters, we're going to black-green now. So again, red-blue confirmed artifact. Black-green, I think this is fill your graveyard and get stuff out of your graveyard back, right? So when he enters, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent control. So if you have tokens out, this becomes way better because you can just sacrifice a token and remove something bigger from your opponent. It could be anything other than land. As long as there are 2 or more creature cards in your graveyard, he gets +2/+1. Okay, also confirmed. You want to fill your graveyard in black-green. Which always is the case, black-green, right? Well, not always, but most of the time. Witherbloom wasn't really into that too much. So this card is actually excellent if you have like tokens you can sacrifice. And in green-white and in black-red, you have a lot of tokens with villains and heroes. So you probably want to like splash this into your hero and villain decks, which create a lot of tokens. But even like in a black-green deck where you fill your graveyards, this is a 5/4 for 4 lands. And you have this option always available. You don't have to use it. But most of the time it's probably good. Even if you like sacrifice a 2/2 or 3/3, you can blow something big up. Agree. Like this card's good. No doubt. Yeah. Well, this card itself basically triggers the second effect because you fill your graveyard with it. But ideally you don't want to sack your big creatures, right? But yeah. This is probably good in any deck. The Coming of Galactus. This looks amazing. And also, we haven't really seen a mass removal. I think there was one red card that dealt 3 damage to everything. But we haven't seen a single card that says destroy all creatures. Destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent for 5 lands. Okay. Each opponent loses 2 life 2 times. And then you create Galactus, a legendary 16/16 alien creature token with flying, trample, and whenever he attacks, destroy target land? Where the fuck is that coming from? I mean, this card's good. This is very good. It's an expensive removal, but it kills anything you want. And then it drains your opponent. Like, it's slow. It takes 4 turns to like get this guy out, but it's a fucking 16/16 flying trample. Very good card. Worst case, it's a removal. Galactus eats like planets. I don't know that either, but I guess it makes sense that something big's coming. You don't want to sack the 16/16 to this guy. FYI. Okay, well, you gotta kill this card. Or you gotta kill the 16/16 right away. Otherwise, you die. I like this card. It's pretty good. Serpent Society. 16/16 flying. I've never seen that. Serpent Society. 3 mana, 3/4 rare. Death Touch villain. Get 5 poison counters? Really? Wait. What do you mean? Whenever another creature you control with Death Touch dies, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Okay. So you kind of like want to have a Death Touch deck? I don't think that's a thing. There's some Death Touch cards, but not like crazy amounts. What does this mean? Oh, Ward get 5 poison counters. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? Do you get 5 poison counters or what? Okay, Ward. So if your opponent... I mean, this is kind of like no Ward, right? If your opponent targets them, he gets 5 poison counters, but he needs 10 to die. And I haven't seen a single poison counter card in this format so far. So, not really interesting, the Ward. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. And then also Death Touch doesn't seem to be a thing, right? I haven't seen anything. Not really. Probably, it's a 3 mana 3/4 Death Touch, so it's fine. But I think these effects don't really matter that much. So it's fine, I guess. Unless I oversaw something and there's like some effects with like poison counters or Death Touch, but I don't think there are. This is probably more like a constructed card. You can still play it though. It's a 3 mana 3/4 Death Touch. It's not horrible. But probably no synergy really. You have Titania, Rugged Rumbler. 3 mana 5/5. But you have to discard a card or pay 2. Okay, it gives us a little bit of flexibility. You can discard the land and play a 5/5 on turn 3. And then ward is discard a card or pay 2. It's kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's either a 3-drop 5/5 and you lose a card, or it's a 5-drop 5/5 and it has a little bit of ward. It's fine. It's fine. Wait, did I miss something? It means that if they have a way to protect it and you pay the ward, it becomes untargetable. Oh, yeah, true. That's correct. But again, do you want to kill the 3/4 Death Touch? Maybe, but it's probably not your favorite target. So how often is your opponent going to target this guy? Especially when you have mana up and this up. And it's not like it's indestructible. I mean, there's tons of 4/4s that just like kill this dude. And it also, like, this effect doesn't trigger when this guy dies. It's another creature. I don't know. I don't think you will ever win a game with poison counters with this dude. I don't think that's going to happen. Unless you have... No, like, there's no way. It's not going to happen. But I know what you mean. It's a good point. This card is... whatever. It's fine. Daredevil, man with a... It doesn't have any synergies. And as long as it doesn't have any synergies, really, it's not that great. I mean, it fills your graveyard. You can discard a card and fill your graveyard, but you don't get anything out of it other than playing this card early on. Actually, maybe it's fine. If you definitely want to play it in black-green, you fill your graveyard and you have a 3-drop 5/5. So it's not horrible. And then your opponent probably can't deal with it early on because either has to pay 2, which is quite expensive, or he has to discard a card too. So actually, I changed my mind. I think this card is actually quite good in black-green. Black Widow. I don't know any card names, okay? I don't know what Black Widow does. But I'm sure there's some combinations with it. There's some ways to make it work, but I wouldn't build my deck around it and create a game plan. Okay, the black white. Sorry, I didn't really pay attention to the... Let me check it out. There it is. Whenever creature you control attacks alone, it gains first strike and menace until end of turn. Oh, you mean then he has to start killing it? Yeah, no, I don't think that's gonna help you. I'm sure there's ways to build something around it, but it's legendary again, and there's no other cards that do poison counters, I think. I wouldn't bank on it. I think this card is mediocre. Okay, Daredevil, 4 mana, 3/4, red, white, vigilance, haste. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Sure. Whenever you attack, you may exile the top card of your library. If that card is a hero card, Daredevil gets +2/+1 until end of turn. You will play that card this turn. You may exile the top card of your library. If it's a hero, he gets +2/+1 and you play it. Okay. So it draws you cards if you into heroes. You want to play this in a hero deck, obviously. This is quite good. Attacking with a 3/4 for a 4-drop. I mean, if your opponent doesn't have anything, obviously you're gonna like build your board and draw extra cards. If he blocks it, you still get like 1 extra card. And you know what's coming, right? So you can basically attack with him and it's a 5/5. So you know whether there's a hero on top or not. That's actually quite good then. So it's a 4-drop that grows to a 5/5 if you attack with him and find a hero on top. And you know. So that's a good card. That's a good card for sure. I do like this one. It also has haste. So it comes as a surprise for your opponent as well. Problem is, Well, I guess no, the problem is you can't look at your deck before you play him. So if you play him and hope that it's a hero, I mean, you can play him and then you know, but you can't surprise your opponent with certainty with a 5/5. You don't know whether it goes to a 5/5. I mean, Black Widow kind of like would make sense if it had that death touch, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously you want to play this in a hero deck. Other than that, it's kind of like nonsense. Superhero Civil War, 5-drop rare. Enchantment Saga. Gain control of up to 2 target creatures with total mana value 6 or less for as long as the saga remains on the battlefield. Oh my god. That's pretty good. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. Tiger creature you control fights up to 1. Oh my god. Yeah, this can be the final blow. This definitely works in Boros quite well. In Boros, you just want to beat down your opponent. And then you take over 2 creatures, you grow your whole board, and then you remove a creature. Fuck, this could be crazy. And also, you can use the creatures you've taken over to fight something. And ideally, you want to like then kill your opponent's creature and the one you took over because your opponent is going to get it back, right? So that's quite nice. That's actually a pretty good one. Yeah, this can be very devastating. You might be fine on board, and as soon as your opponent drops this, you just lose 2 creatures, and your opponent gains 2 creatures. Actually insane. Very good card. Even if you're not aggressive, you can probably splash this into any deck. I mean, this is quite good. Especially this effect, because you can sack your opponent's creatures. Yeah. So you can even let the 2 creatures fight with each other. But I'm not sure you want to do this. Like, obviously you can also kill something else on the board, depends. But yeah, you can also let them fight and then they're both gone. So this is basically just like a removal spell for 2 creatures. But obviously it's mana value 6 or less, so you can't like take the biggest things. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if you kill your opponent's creature with one of the one taken over and then he gets one back, or you let them both die, but yeah, for sure. Thor. Flying, vigilance, prowess. Double prowess. Double prowess is pretty good. And it is flying and vigilance. I like this card. I mean Boros. Boros is beat down, guys. Boros is beat down non-creature spells. So you kind of want to mix like a lot of creatures with prowess into a deck with a lot of like interaction spells is what red-white does. I like this card. There's going to be a very aggressive deck here, which is red-white. War Machine, flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is War Machine's power. Beginning of combat on your turn. Okay. So if this doesn't grow, you can give another creature +1/+0. It's an artifact. So you can play this in your artifact deck too. How do you grow this guy is the question. I guess it's a hero. So it kind of like works in black-white too. Because your like single creatures become stronger. It kind of like works in artifact blue-red. But in Boros, it's probably a bit awkward. Although it's red-white. And it's a hero. This is kind of like a flexible card. You can put in several decks. I'm just not sure how good it's gonna be. It's not the most exciting one, I don't think. Like, it becomes good if you're able to grow your board or like grow this card. If this is a 3/5 or whatever, or 3/3, then you can grow other creatures pretty heavily. Hard to say. It's very flexible. It's hard to say how good this is going to be, to be honest. I'm not sure how this fits in. Okay, let's go to green blue. We have Absorbing Man, 3-drop 4/4 Vigilance. At the beginning of your first main phase until your next turn, he becomes a copy of up to one target artifact, non-aura, enchantment, or land. Okay. But he's still a 4/4. So you don't have to do this, but you can. So it basically takes over the whatever effects your artifact or non-aura enchantment has. Okay. Or you can, like, it becomes a land, so you, like, have an additional land available. I mean, this is good. It's a 3-mana 4/4 Vigilance is already good, and then it has an extra effect, which could be good. I think this is a good card. I'm very curious about green-blue. I still don't know what green-blue actually does. That's the only archetype combination where I'm not sure what this actually does, and this is still unclear to me. So let's see. Ant-Man, 3-mana 2/2. Whenever Ant-Man attacks, you may pay 1. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. I guess +1/+1 counters. Whenever you put a +1/+1, create a 1/1 insect token. Only once each turn. I guess green-blue is +1/+1 counters. I guess that makes sense. It was also in Strixhaven, right? You have to attack with him, though. And then you have to tap a land. And you can grow him to a 3/3. And then you create tokens. I mean, it creates you tokens, but you have to attack with him. Or, well, I guess you don't have to if you find other ways to put +1/+1 counters. Only triggers once. It's not like endless amounts of triggers each turn. I guess it's fine if you play +1/+1 counters. I think the effect by itself when attacking is kind of like weird because it's a 3-drop 2/2 that you grow to a 3/3 potentially. Your opponent will probably have a way to block this. So, but this second effect is actually quite good because you don't have to attack with him in order to create 1/1s. I feel like there's a lot of like archetypes that just like build endless amounts of tokens. So you want the mass removals or like the removals that deal 2 damage to everything on the board. Or land, yeah, I agree. It could be a mana dork. Yeah. Then you have a 4-drop 3/3 beast. As long as you've put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on beast this turn, he has flying. Okay, green-blue is +1/+1 counters. Okay, confirmed. And when he deals damage to a player, you draw a card. I mean, this is quite good, right? In a +1/+1 counter deck, this card is good. This gives you a lot of value. 3-drop 2/2 rare. Man, there's so many multicolor cards. Actually crazy. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, until end of turn, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur's base power and toughness becomes 6/6 and they gain trample. It becomes a 6/6 if you draw your second card, which works in Conif quite well. That's pretty crazy, actually. Whenever an artifact you control enters, draw a card. Oh my god. Okay. I like what they did here. So they have a lot of like cards that you can fix into several decks. This works in the artifact blue-red deck, and this guy works in a blue-black Conif deck because you draw a lot of second cards. Or like you draw, like every turn you have like a second card draw, right? And then this guy becomes bigger too. Pretty good card. Very flexible. You can play this in pretty much all archetypes. And then you have Astonishing Ant-Man. A lot of Ant-Mans. 2 mana, 1/1. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 on him. And then you remove a counter. And then you create that many 1/1 insect tokens. I mean, this guy grows pretty quickly. This is very good, actually. And then you can, like, basically exchange the tokens for 1/1s. This card is pretty good. Green-blue seems to be actually viable. Green-blue seems very good. And then also this. It's all about ends, as it seems. Worlds within worlds. 7-drop. Exile all creatures. Oh, okay, here we go. We have a mass removal. We found it. Each player may put any number of creature cards from their hand onto the battlefield, then put all cards exiled this way into their owner's... Oh, wait. Into their owner's hands. So you basically exchange your hand with the board? Yeah, right? Is this even good? I mean, it's a 7-drop, so it's very expensive. And you don't kill anything. You don't only kill the tokens. I mean, I guess it slows your opponent down, and it could be good in some cases, but if your opponent is able to replay those, it's not like you to kill anything. It just like wins you time. Yeah, it just like, it seems very expensive for it. This could be a good combat trick, but it is random. You don't know whether it's going to be crazy good or just doesn't do much. And then this is a 7-drop? I mean, there's mass removals for 4 lands. And this is like 7 lands, and it's not even a mass removal. I don't know how this guy is going to be good, to be honest. It's too random. It's not a guaranteed up for you. It could be pretty bad. It could sit on your hand too. Very weird card. I don't know. There must be like a combination with this card, but I don't see what it is. Probably not that great. Yeah, agree. Agree with what you guys say. Okay, and this is the last one actually. This is the last multicolor card. And then we just have some artifacts. Actually, a couple are. And lands. Okay. So this is the last page. We also want to look at the dual lands. I assume there's some dual lands. Last page. We're almost done. Alright, we have Thanos. 3-drop, 4/4. Death Touch, Lifelink. Power up all colors. And a neutral. Put 2+1/+1 counters on Thanos. Choose odd or even. Destroy each other creature with mana value of the chosen quality. Okay. So here we go with the mass removals. But all the mass removals we've seen come with a condition. They're not necessarily mass removals. This kills only parts of the board. The other one doesn't kill anything. It just like gives it back to your hand. And the red one is only dealing 3 damage. So again, no mass removal so far that comes without a condition. And this is really hard to pull off. There must be so much fixing in this format. But I haven't seen, other than the basic land cycling ones, I haven't seen too many cards that actually give you multiple colors. So I don't know how you're going to pull this off. But generally speaking, 3 mana Death Touch, Lifelink. You have to splash this in though. I mean, this effect is good. If you have a lot of fixing, this card is very good. Yeah. Okay, and then that's it. That's the multicolor spells. So everything got confirmed, and now we know green-blue is also counters. I wasn't quite sure from the mono colors we've seen that this is the case. But yeah, we have all archetypes. Every color has all archetypes, which I like. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be lots of different decks out there. Alright, let's finish this off with artifacts. Guess we can make this quick. It's 2 mana 1/3. When he enters, Surveil 2. Yeah, they're not going to be super exciting. This is just going to be like additional filler cards, but I mean, this is a common. Not super exciting. You want to play this in your artifact deck, potentially, but most of the time, not really. Art Reactor, Improvise. Oh yeah. Your artifacts can help cast the spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1. I still don't exactly know what that means. It sounds to me like you have to use all your mana in order to then tap your artifacts to cast the spell. This artifact enters tapped. Add 3. It's rare as well. So you can use your artifact in order to... Oh no, you can't. Oh yeah, you can play this card by tapping your artifacts on top of your lands, and then you get more lands. I don't think it's going to be good, is it? I mean, unless you want to ramp into something, like Mathemagics, which there isn't. Don't think this is necessarily great. Captain America's shield? Oh, okay, Captain America has a shield? Indestructible? I mean, Captain America is already indestructible and gives everything else indestructible, and then it becomes a shield. Indestructible, a crypt creature gets +0/+8 and has vigilance. Whenever a crypt creature attacks, tap target creature defending player controls, equipped to. So it opens up opponent's defense and it makes something indestructible. I guess that's quite good, because you can protect all your creatures with it. And if you connect this to Captain America, your whole board is locked in. Yeah, probably good. Not crazy good, but it's good. Cosmic Cube, especially in like Boros, you should probably put this in and tap everything. Cosmic Cube. 5-drop Mythic Artifact. Whenever you attack, look at the top 6 cards of your library. May cast a spell from among them with mana value less than or equal to the greatest power among attacking creatures you control without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. You can cast 1 spell only, okay. Okay. To the greatest power among attacking creatures. So you like, if you have a 5/5, you can basically play a 5-drop or a 4-drop or like 3-drop, whatever, from these 6 cards. Okay. So this draws you basically cards, but you have to attack. And it costs 5. Yeah, I mean, again, this is one of these cards that can win you the game by getting more and more ahead. But you need to be ahead in order to make this work, right? Actually, maybe not. If you just have one creature that can attack, you can draw cards. Still, you don't want to top deck this. It's a 5-drop that doesn't do anything. It's unplayable. Yeah, it's a bit random. It's not unplayable. Like, if you have flying creatures, or like if you combine this with a 2/2 that is unblockable, which we haven't seen a lot of creatures from. This card's good, but then it's a 2/2 attacking, right? Like, how many cards are you actually going to be able to play if it has to be mana value 2 or less? Yeah, this doesn't seem super exciting. This can be good, but it can also be really, really trash and too expensive. And you usually don't want to play those cards unless you're like certain this is going to always do something for you. It can, on the other hand, it can win you the game by getting more and more on board, but it's very, very conditional. Not a big fan of that, I don't think. And then you have a 3-drop, 3/3, the Quinjet. Flying at 1 mana of any color. Okay, so a little bit of fixing. It's like the Trove, but it's also a creature. And it's a 3/3 flyer. But a Crew 4 is quite expensive, so I guess you can play this card for fixing purposes, if you need to. But Crew 4 is quite expensive, so it's probably, you will probably play this a couple times when you play like 5 colors or whatever. Then you will need this. Depends on how much fixing you have and there is in the set. So far, I haven't seen tons, which is surprising. Then you have Herbie, the 4 mana 2/1 flying. When he enters, draw a card, and then you put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, I mean, it's a 4-drop. I don't know how many lands you will have left on your hand, so it's not a guaranteed land drop. 4-drop 2/1 that draws you a card. Doesn't seem that amazing. Iron Man armor, of course. If Captain America has his shield, Iron Man needs his armor, right? When this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and flying. Ooh. And it's equipped too. And if this equipment isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 construct hero artifact creature with flying, and this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So if you, let's say you don't have any creatures, you can activate this effect, and then it becomes a creature. For each artifact you control. Ooh, this is actually crazy. Like, if you have 5 artifacts out, this is a 5/5 flying +2/+1. This is a 7/6 flying for 2 lands. Man, this is good. This is a very good card. This is gonna be very good. But obviously, if you activate this, it becomes a creature, and then people can destroy it, right? If you leave it as equipment, people can't. It's going to be harder for them to destroy it. It does, because it says it becomes a 0/0 construct hero token with flying. Yeah, I'm not really good at reading. Oh, you don't get +2/+1. You're right. You're right. It's not equipped anymore. Yeah. So if you tap 2, it only, like, if you have 5 artifacts out, it becomes a 5/5 flying. It doesn't get +2/+1. You're right. I also need to learn to read. You're not alone. 6/6. Berserker, right. But you didn't know whether I was counting Iron Man in or not. So if you have 5 other artifacts, yeah, it's a 6/6, because this is obviously also an artifact. Because it is a hero artifact creature. Okay, so we figured it out, guys. There's a lot of side effects to it. We figured it out. It's a bit complicated. We all need to learn how to read. But that's what we have us for, right? Together we get it done. The summary is, it's a very good card. Play this card in any deck. Well, no, don't play it in any deck. In artifact decks, it becomes really strong. In other decks, even in other decks, it's not that bad. +2/+1 and flying for 2 lands. It's quite good. Shield Helicarrier. 4 mana, 4/5 flying. When it enters, create 2 1/1s, but it's crew 6. Oh my god. Not great. I don't think. It's very hard to crew this guy, unless you go wide. But even then. Yeah, I don't like this card. It gives you tokens, I guess. So in a token deck, you can potentially play this, but it's very expensive for crewing, and it's a little bit 4 mana, 4/5 flying isn't too exciting either. I don't know. Don't like this card specifically. We're almost done here. So the last cards. Super Adaptoid. Man, this is a long text. Power is equal to the number of legendary creatures you control. Okay. We have tons of legendary creatures. Almost every single card is legendary. So this is going to be probably strong. When he enters or attacks, choose another target creature. If that creature has haste and he doesn't, he gets a haste counter. Oh, okay, when he enters. Or attacks. How does that make sense? Oh, do the same for flying, first strike, double strike, death touch, indestructible, lifelink, madness, reach, trample, and vigilance. So it basically gets all the counters you want if you choose the specific creature. So if a creature has death touch and flying, does he get both? Yeah, it does. So if you target a creature with a lot of counters on it, he gets all these counters. Best card in the set? Keep in mind you need creatures in order to like be this, like, if you don't have creatures on board, this is a 0/2. No, this is not the best card in the set. I mean, yeah, okay, he's legendary, so it's a 1/2. But he relies heavily on other creatures. So if you have nothing on board, it's just a 1/2. If you have creatures on board with counters on him, yeah, he can take over those counters. But, I mean, it will take a lot of time to, like, put the counters on it, right? Unless you have a creature with, like, 5 counters at the same time, which is not that often, you can attack with it and then give it potentially flying. And then next turn you can attack with it and give it, I don't know, lifelink. And then you can attack with it and give it madness. It's slow. It's not like he's going to have all these counters right away. And then also, it's not going to be like he's an 8/2. It's unlikely that you have 8 legendary creatures out. I'm not saying he's bad, but this is definitely not the best card in the set, unless I misunderstand something. You can target opponent's critters. True. You don't have to use your, yeah, that's true. You don't have to target your creatures, but I like that it says when you attack and it has no haste counter on it, you can give it a haste counter. I like that they chose haste as an example. It's kind of stupid. I mean, it makes sense when it enters and gets haste. So, okay, you can play it and you can choose a counter right away, right? So you could choose like haste, and then you attack with it and give it another counter right away. So, yeah. It's a good card. I agree, it's a good card, but it's also conditional. I wouldn't say it's the best card in the set, but by far not. It's a fun one. There's some fun cards in here, which really we haven't seen. Like we have seen this like taking over counters, right? But not like exactly like this. Kind of fun. The 10 rings. This must be the best card in this set. 8 lands. Your maximum hand size is 10. Oh, great. At the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 10 cards in hand, draw odds equal to the difference. Man, this is like the One Ring, right? This is like the One Ring from Lord of the Rings. Not the exact same, but kind of like the same effect. What do the 10 rings do in Marvel? I don't even know. Oh, is this good? It's the One Ring times 10. Kind of. I don't know if this is actually good. The problem is it costs you 8 lands. So unless you have a lot of ramp, it will take you time to get to 8 lands. Let's say you have 0 ramp. Once you will be able to play this, you're like already more than halfway through your deck. Not true. You'll be halfway through your deck. Pretty much exactly halfway. A little bit less. And your hand is probably going to be empty. So you'll play this and you draw 10 cards. And then you're like down to 10 cards. And then you kind of like need to watch out at the beginning of your end step. Ooh. So you can't even rely on the card you draw next turn. Yeah, this looks like a constructor card to me. I don't think it's gonna matter that much in draft. It's too expensive. Yeah, I agree. Not really playable in draft. You can probably make it work somehow, but it's so risky to play this. Not great. Okay, 2 more, 3 more, 5 more. 5 last cards, and then we're done. The Vision. Flying Vigilance. 2/5 rare. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Or you can do it every turn. The Vision gains double strike until end of turn. It gains indestructible, and you draw a card. That's very good. That's excellent. That's an excellent card. Especially in a like spell heavy deck or like instant and sorcery heavy deck. Pretty fucking good. Yeah, agree. You can protect it as well. You can like kill your opponent and you have value. This card does everything you want. And it's not even expensive. Even like a 4-drop 2/5 flying vigilance isn't that bad. And then it has these effects that you can trigger potentially 3 times each turn. That's very, very good. Oh, that's the vision. That's the vision. That's the one you were talking about. How was I supposed to know? You know that I don't know the cards. It was you, Epicenter, right? You talked about the vision. This might be the best card in the set. It came right after this. I mean, this is significantly better. I don't know if it's the best one. It's very close. It's probably one of the best ones. Captain America is also pretty fucking cool. Okay, and then we have Ultron. Oh my god, this might be better. 3 mana, 2/4 mythic. Whenever another non-token artifact you control enters, you may pay 2. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. If the token isn't a creature, it becomes a 2/2 robot villain. Oh my god, okay. So 3 mana, 2/4 that basically copies your artifact spells. If you tap 2. And if it's not a creature, it also becomes a creature. That's quite good too. Especially in an artifact deck, that's very good. You just double all your artifact spells, basically. This comes pretty close. This is a very good card. It needs artifact. It needs artifact. Well, this guy needs spells. But it works in any deck, but obviously you want to be more like sorcery and instant heavy. But yeah, this card is fucking good. Red, blue, and this guy, and you're going. Ultron Drone. 3 mana, 2/3, power up 6, put 2+1/+1 counters, and create a 2/2. So you can play it for 6, then it's a 4/5 and a 2/2. Same card, the same thing that I said about all the power-up cards. Probably not going to matter that much. Vibranium Energy Daggers. Indestructible. Equip 3. Equip creature gets +2/+2. Can't destroy the equipment, but equipping 3 is very, very expensive, only to give +2/+2. If you play a lot of tokens, you can maybe make this work, but it's so expensive. Even in a big token deck, it won't matter. You would rather play cards that like boost the whole board. I don't think it's a good card. It's pretty shit. Very slow, yeah. Or are you referring to this? Sorry, this or this? I mean, this one's slow. This one's also, I wouldn't say slow, but that's too expensive. This card's good. The 2/3, yeah. 2/4. Okay, well, I don't think this is slow. I mean, yeah, you have to pay 2, but I think it's pretty good. Like, you can copy your artifact spells. It's pretty good. And then the last card. Oh, too slow is equipment. Yeah, I agree. Sorry. I'm sometimes a bit slow reading chats. Okay, and the last card. Viv Vision Teen Synthesoid. I don't know. 3 mana, 2/2 flying. Whenever he attacks, draw a card if her power is 4 or greater. Well, you can give her 4/4 for power up 7. So it's a 7-drop 4/4 flying that draws you cards if you attack. Same thing. Very much like a lot of downsides to power up. Okay. And that's it. What are the lands though? Okay. We have the tap blue white that gains you life. Or you have blue white that comes in. Wait, activate only if this land entered this turn or if you control the basic land. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's a blue-white untapped land. That's a pretty good one. This one's tapped. Same with blue-black. I assume that's in every color, right? Are they rare? Oh, okay. But these are common. Gain 1 life, same thing, same thing. I mean, they're all the same, right? Yeah. Wait, black-white only has this? What? How? Oh. All these colors only have this. Wait, am I missing something? Sorry, I'm scrolling that heavily, but no, I'm not missing this. Okay. That's interesting. So apparently green, blue, red, white, black, green, and blue, red only have, and black, white, only have one fix, or like one dual land, while these colors have two. I don't know why that is. And then you have Avenger's Tower. Add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a hero spell, or activate hero ability. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a hero card from among them and put them into your hand. Ooh. Well, this card is excellent in a hero deck. And then probably the same for villains. Baxter Building, add 4 mana and any combination of colors. This is connected to Fantastic Four, obviously. Draw a card, activate only if you control a creature with toughness 4 or greater. Also pretty good. In the late game. It kind of like ruins your mana a little bit in the early game. So if you have enough fixing, you can probably make this work. If you're a little bit mana screwed and don't have enough fixing, this might kill you. Add 1 mana of any spell, only to cast artifact spells. Okay. Oh, that's why. Sacrifice an artifact, create a 3/3. Only as sorcery, yeah, I hope so. Otherwise you'd be too good. It's rare too. And then when this enters, surveil 1, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, there's plenty of fixing, guys. They're also common. There's rare cards, but like you have a lot of common cards too and uncommon. You have so much fixing. I guess that makes sense that green-white... Actually, green-white has 2 too. Okay, interesting. Add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a villain. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is for villains. Interesting that you can like make your villains Conniv. So I guess this works in like black, blue, and like black, red. And that's it. Okay, tons of fixing. This is what I was thinking, because you have a lot of cards that like require fixing. And I haven't seen too many like creatures or whatever that do that, other than the basic land cycling cards, which are pretty expensive. But all these tapped lands and dual lands actually make it viable. You will find plenty of these cards in your drafts. And they will be necessary because your game plans are going to be hard to pull off. And you will need a lot of fixing in order to stick to a specific game plan. Very exciting. I think this could be a very exciting set, honestly. What I like is they don't have any mass removals. Like very conditional mass removals, which is really nice. Second of all, you can play all archetypes, any color combination you can play, which makes it interesting. I am not sure about all cards being legendary. It makes your game plan a lot harder, and it will force you to splash a couple of cards in even more, which makes it, I guess, exciting, but also a bit harder to pull off an exact game plan. And you kind of like need to also build in plan B and plan C, I think. And then, yeah, I think the archetypes are pretty clear. I don't think I have to repeat them. Yeah, very interesting. I'm very excited about this set. I'm very excited. I don't know if I have a preference right now. Heroes seem strong, villains seem strong, but honestly, maybe artifacts are not as good as I thought they were. Conniv also doesn't seem very deep. Conniv, I'm not sure. And teamwork also doesn't seem very deep. It is definitely required that this set has more cards than Strixhaven just because you play all these archetypes. But that also means all your like game plans or archetypes are not that deep in regards of cards. So yeah, this just supports what I said about you will have to build probably 1 or 2 game plans into your deck rather than just going into one. Which makes it very exciting. I'm excited about this, guys. We did it. We finished it. Now we're like well prepared. We know which cards are weird to read. We know which cards are shit. We know which cards seem good. There will be a few surprises, so I'm excited to see how specific cards we think are completely shit turn out to be good or the other way around. We will see. We'll see. All right. I think that's it.